My number one recommendation when you start oil painting, the surface that I would recommend to anyone that start oil painting is definitely the... So today I want to talk about surfaces. What is the best surface to start with when starting oil painting? I will talk about 4 different surfaces, and at the end of this video I will tell you what is the best surface to start with when starting oil painting. I will consider 2 main criteria for that. The first one, the most important, is the price, and the second is the pleasure that we feel when we apply the paint on the surface, and the final result. How is the final result once we finish the painting? So when I started oil painting in May 2021, I went with what I knew. I was painting with acrylic before switching to oil paint, so I was used to cotton canvas. This is the first surface I want to talk about today. Cotton canvas. Cotton canvas is usually stretched on wooden bars. You can buy it in roll, but you can find it very easily in art supply store, in craft store. It's everywhere. It's probably the most common surface when we think of painting is the cotton canvas. It's also the cheapest canvas to buy. Even though it's cheap, it still has a certain price. So one canvas 9x12 can go around $10, even more, depending the canvas that is used, depending the quality of the cotton. So I bought a bunch of cotton canvas when I started oil painting. Certain cotton canvas comes in bundle. These are pretty cheap, but because it's cheap, we also get the cheapest quality in the cotton, in the gesso, and in the wooden bars, in the wood itself. And besides that, besides having a low or high quality cotton canvas, all the cotton canvas have the same issue, in my opinion, with oil paint, is that the cotton canvas basically has a lot of bumps. Les fibres, the fibers of the cotton canvas are pretty big, and this you can directly, even at the noise, you can directly feel it. You can, once you start to apply the paint on the cotton canvas, you can directly feel that it's gonna be very hard to have precise brush strokes. This offers one quality, in my opinion, is that as it's not very precise, your edges kind of becomes softer naturally. So this is a nice plus, I will say. But beside that small plus, honestly, cotton canvas was very hard for me, and I was very disappointed about the result of my paintings. There is another type of canvas. This is the second surface I want to talk about today, is the linen canvas. So the linen canvas comes like that. You can have already stretched linen canvas. You can buy it in rolls as well. The linen canvas is way finer. It has the fiber are way closer together. So once the gesso is applied, the surface you obtain on a linen canvas is very, very soft. There is different type of finish on linen canvas. You have rougher surface, you have smoother canvas, smoother surface, but overall the linen canvas is way smoother than any cotton canvas you can buy. Linen canvas is highly recommended for oil paint. It's very archival, but the only downside of the linen canvas, it's its price. It's extremely pricey. After the linen canvas, the third surface I want to talk about today is the paper surface. This is Canson Paper Pad, oil paper pad. As its name implied, is a paper. It's a piece of paper. It comes in pads of 24 sheets of paper. One pad of Canson oil pad is around $12 where I live. So you make the math. This comes to 50 cents, around 50 cents sheet of paper. This is very, very cheap. The surface has a texture to it. It kind of emulate the linen canvas surface. No matter how much paint you apply on the surface, here there's a lot of paint. As you can see, the paper stayed completely straight. It didn't wave at all. You can apply as much paint as you want on the surface. It doesn't wave, it holds the paint perfectly. If you are happy with the painting, you can also varnish the final painting. This gives a very good results. The downside, I will say, of the paper is that once you finish your painting, well, it still remains a paper. So the final result, I will say, it's not what you have in mind when you think, oh, I'm gonna do a painting. This is not something you want to hang just like that. To have a final result that is satisfying, I would say you need an extra step. The extra step will be to paste the paper on a panel, or to frame it like I just showed you before. There's frames that are made for paper. I did remove the glass of this frame that you just saw, and it works perfectly. When I started to be happy with my paintings, I wanted a surface that is just a little more noble. I wanted a surface that is more ready to hang and that gives a satisfying result when you finish your painting, a little higher than the paper. So my choice went for wood panel. Wood panel, an amazing surface. You can buy it pre-made, like here. This was pre-cut wood panel, not gessoed. So when I received the wood panel, compared to the oil paper pad that is ready to go, when you receive the oil paper pad, you don't need to add any gesso. You can directly paint on. The surface is amazing. It holds the paint very good. The wood panel, you buy it unprimed. You can add your layer of gesso once you receive the panel. You can also buy panels that are already gessoed, but again, this will increase the price. For wood panel, I quickly stopped buying pre-cut panel and I went for a big sheet of, it's called tempered hardboard where I live currently. So the sheet of wood was like 2x4, and with a 2x4 I was able to obtain around 10 and 12 9x12. So this is a kind of standard size. This is the size I like to work with. The first sheets I bought, they were like that. So they are rough in the back and they are soft, they are smooth in the front. I was happy to see that quickly the store changed these panels, and now I buy these panels. As you can see, that's a lot. This is my cuts. So with one, this is 2 sheets of 2x4. This is a lot of surface that you get out of 1 or 2 wood panel. One 2x4, I think it's around $7 where I live. So $7, if I make 10, let's say 10 9x12, this makes the surface pretty cheap, but there's a catch here. The surface is unprimed. So once I finish my cuts, I still need to apply at least 3 layers of gesso. I did the mistake sometimes to apply only 2 layers of gesso, and I think this is a mistake because once I varnished the painting, I could see that there was a problem, there was something off. So now I constantly put at least 3 layers of gesso on my wood panel. Even with the gesso, this remains a very cheap option. In my opinion, the wood panel is a very, very good option. So now that I talk about the 4 main surfaces, I will tell you which one I recommend the most. When you start oil painting, to me, what was important is to paint a lot. I really wanted to paint a lot and a lot without being worried of wasting a surface. So the cotton canvas, if this is around $10, just one canvas like that, this is so expensive. There was no way I would keep painting on that because it's too expensive, especially at the beginning when you don't even know what you're doing. And the fact that the pleasure, when I apply the paint on this rough surface like that, I had zero pleasure painting on the cotton canvas. So at least for the beginners, the cotton canvas is the least recommended surface I would recommend to a beginners. I will not recommend the linen canvas neither because it's way too expensive. So to paint a lot and to sacrifice some surface because you don't know what you're doing, linen is way too expensive for that. The wood panel, I will say it's a great surface because it's cheap. On the downside of the wood panel, I will say that the wood panel is very hard to paint on because the surface is extremely smooth. You can kind of change the surface when you apply your gesso. Depending on how you apply your gesso, you're gonna obtain a little rougher surface. You can sand down the last layer of gesso to obtain an extremely smooth surface. But then the downside of that is that you need some experience, in my opinion, to get good paintings because it's very hard to paint on very smooth surface, but it's so enjoyable. The earlier you start, the faster you will get better at it. So my number one recommendation when you start oil painting, the surface that I would recommend to anyone that start oil painting is definitely the Canson Oil Paper Pad. It comes with 24 sheets of paper. You have 24 surface to work with one single pad that is around $12. This makes 50 cents the surface, ready to paint it directly when you receive the pad. This is definitely my go-to recommendation for anyone that starts oil painting.